Hello, everybody. Welcome into episode 65 of Buds and Blue Jays. This is your place for all things Toronto Blue Jays related through the season and through the offseason. Remember, our show is free and available on all platforms. So if you're one of the people watching us on YouTube, make sure you leave us a comment, toss us a like, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're one of the many podcast listeners that we have, please leave us a 5-star review and give us a review on those podcast streaming platforms. It really does help the show grow. I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, coming at you from Bell Vegas, Ontario. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Riley McConnell, who not only does he have a great baseball mind, he's also one hell of a bassist. Coming in from Bloomfield, Ontario. Riley, how are you?
Jesse, I'm fantastic. Bassist coming along good. Why not do a New Year's resolution in October, something like that? Something I wanted to do for a long time.
Sure, yeah.
Why not? Baseball's over for us. But hey, we got a great episode coming your way, guys. I am so excited for this one, man. Bold takes and much more. But first, my high school shortstop joins us, Mr. Kyle Gould. You put this guy 2-hole, 3-hole, 4 or 5-hole. He always gave you results, man. Great defender. He went on and played some pretty good baseball. Kyle, man, so happy you're joining us.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, the pleasure is all mine. I've watched you guys from when you started this. I've been talking to Jesse and you a little bit, Riley, about when you started this. And great year, as much as it didn't end that way. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I'm pumped to get on here and talk to Blue Jays baseball, even though the season is over.
I was going to say, Riley actually gave you a great introduction there, but I was going to say, not only does he have the sickest flow on the show, he might have the best hands of all shortstops in all of Ontario. So big shoes to fill, Kyle. Hope you're ready for it.
Oh, I'll try my best.
Good man. Good man. Today on the show, we are, Riley kind of mentioned it here. We are going to do a little refresh of the 2022 season. We are going to talk about some lessons that we had learned throughout the course of the year. And then also we're going to go back and we're going to look at our bold predictions we made at the start of the season. And then we're going to look back and see how we did. Now, I know what they were. And if you guys were listening at home, remember what they were. I'm sure they were ridiculous. We're going to have a good laugh and see how off we are well. And let's see if we get skunked out. But first, guys, let's get started, and we're going to start with our lessons that we've learned through the 2022 baseball season. Now, a little refresh for those of you who don't know, we finished 92-70, top wild card spot, second place in the AL East, didn't win the division, and ultimately we lost both games in the wild card round to the Seattle Mariners, and I'm sorry for bringing back those painful memories. I just don't think we're over it still yet. So, guys, take it away. Who wants to go first with the first lesson you're going to take from the 2022 baseball season?
Guess first, Kyle Gould. You follow the Jays as much as we do, man. I want to hear a fresh take on all of this, on this monstrosity that we had to be the end of the year, man. Kyle, what do you think, brother?
Okay, well, lessons on the year itself. Overall, I think the season was, they had their ups and downs, but did we expect more from them? Probably. Did we expect the Yankees to do what they did? Probably not, right? So being in that second spot, getting that first wild card spot, not much more you could ask for. But I dove into that dreaded series that we just all witnessed. And I have some numbers here. I kind of made some notes. I'm going to go through them. I want you guys to tell me what you think, okay?
Fire away.
So obviously, going through the position, edges that we had, you guys talked about it, everyone was talking about it, where the Jays win in what positions. Vlad and Ty France at first base. Who would have thought that Vlad would be outplayed by Ty France? Right. Looking at them, we all gave it. Vlad had the slight advantage, but people thought it would be close. Mm-hmm. Vlad went 1 for 8 with 1 RBI in the whole series. And when your name's Vlad Guerrero Jr., that can't happen. It just can't. Obviously, it's the first big game you played in the Rogers Center. I get it, but
we had mentioned
1
that too.
break's a little much.
We had mentioned that in our last episode where if one of the keys to success for the Blue Jays in the playoffs was Vlad was going to have to carry us, and he didn't. One of the 3 reasons we lost that game there.
I'm going to give some credit where credit's due, though. Ty France, man, who would have thought? He came out of nowhere this year. He had a very serviceable year. Yeah, Vlad, you should have outplayed him, though. Totally agree with you there, Kyle.
Yeah, and everything I'm going to say, it's not even – I have a lot of respect for the Mariners. I've always kind of liked them as a team. Unfortunately, I didn't think they were going to beat us. But so if I ever say it's someone that I expected to beat over the Mariners, it's not a knock on them. I just think Ty France, he did have a great year, honestly. Huge year for him. But when you're Vlad, you can't have him being outplaying you. It just can't happen. And then I wanted to look at Bo Bichette versus JP Crawford.
On paper, that's a win for the Jays every time, right?
Absolutely. And I even thought until game 2, it was too. I mean, they were both kind of canceling each other out by being mediocre at best. But Bo was 2 for 8, no RBIs, strikeout, nothing, pretty pedestrian for him as well. Whereas JP was only 1 for 7, but he did draw 2 walks and had that dreadful 3 RBI double.
We don't talk about that anymore.
Which is just awful. But again, like JP played better defense all series as well. So it's tough to say that on paper. Again, Bo should be above and beyond where JP was, and just he wasn't again for those 2 games.
So
and then obviously notables for go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so I think your main takeaways there are that like our superstars need to perform like superstars, and they didn't here, right? Is that like the takeaway we're taking from that?
Yeah, and that perfect segue into next numbers. Do you guys know anything about like the WPA metric on Baseball Reference?
Yeah, a shit ton.
So it's like for people who don't know, it's like the win probability added for an offensive player at their at bats.
Yes.
Right. So if you have a positive one, it means you did something at your at bats to win a game, to help win a game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you these numbers, and it's not going to make you feel that great.
Shoot, let's hear it.
So there was only 4 positive batters for the Jays. And when I say positive, I'm not saying, they did stuff to win ball games. They barely did. They were just over 0. The highest one was 0.08.
Was it Danny
Who do you
Jansen?
think those 4 batters were?
I'm going to go Danny Jansen was one of them.
Teoscar.
Actually wasn't.
Oh, no?
So Teo was one. He was the lowest one, believe it or not. Because I guess what they did was in a blowout game like that, the numbers get skewed and changed. So it's not really like a game-winning at bat. The game was out of reach, so we thought. Who's the highest, do you think?
Espinal, maybe.
He was the highest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And then Matt Chapman and Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were all very almost meaningless numbers. Like they were the only ones that were above a negative, but by just this much.
I mean, if I can recall, Matt Chapman doubled and had a sacrifice fly. That's all I remember from the 2-game series too. So to come out with an above winning probability added is pretty like, wow. You would expect a lot of other guys, but wow, that's pretty pathetic, really.
So Kyle, how do we take this information and transfer it into the offseason here to get better? Like, what do we take from that to make this Blue Jays team better so it doesn't happen again?
Well, I think honestly, it starts with their approaches. Their approaches at the plate in those wild card games were awful, especially game 1. I mean, even though you give all credit to Luis Castillo, but like he shoved. He had an all-time performance for him, but he did only strike out 5 batters. He was 7 1/3, meaning we were putting the ball in play, but we weren't squaring it up. And that's got to do with 102 mile an hour with movement coming at you probably. But overall, like the Jays are the best high velocity hitting team. They shouldn't have had as much of an issue that they did with him. Obviously, Castillo was on. But to go back to those numbers too quickly, Seattle, all of them, the lowest one was 0.04, which was tied for the second highest for the Jays. Whereas you had like Crawford,
value, right?
Adam Frazier, Cal Riley, who honestly, unbelievable series, unbelievable postseason for him. But yeah, all their numbers were shattering towards Toronto. So I think how you fix that is, one, we touched on it, your best players have to be your best players.
Yeah.
You guys have talked about that before. But also, like, just coming up with one timely at bat. The only person who came up with timely at bats, it seemed, was Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
Like, those are the most memorable at bats you can think of.
Riley, let's move on to you here. And what's your main takeaway that you're going to take away from this series, whether it's the playoff series or whether it's the season as a whole?
So I'm going to look at the season as a whole, Jesse, and look to see where we started the season, which was very high hopes and for the right reasons. We had the reigning American League hits leader. We had the prodigy, which is Vlad Jr. We knew that we had a good problem to have on second base with the potential of Espinal and Kevin Biggio.
Mhm.
We were hopeful with a lot of things, and we knew Manoah was going to go out there and be an absolute stud, and he did just that. Now, the problem was, and I really think it showed in the postseason, was that we don't have that all-star veteran presence. We have guys
Springer and Chapman, guys that are good and have done it.
I mean, we didn't go and get Freddie Freeman,
Right.
which is fine. I'm fine with that. But had we got him, whatever, that's kind of what I'm talking about. The veteran all-star, we didn't really have that. I mean, Chapman is not going to be an all-star unless he plays better. And George Springer's days of all-star game appearances, or
He wasn't
being
all-star
at
just
the
this
top
year,
of the-
though. He was there.
Yeah, but those days are behind him, though. I'm
Right.
thinking, but it just the timely at bats weren't there. We were the least clutch team in the league, and I feel like growing pains is an understatement. We just didn't have the experience. We got more guys on this team with an 0-2 playoff record than not an 0-2 playoff records. That was the first playoff for a lot of our guys,
Right.
and I think there's a lot to take away from it. First, new manager. John Snyder, who's going to be our manager next year, I'm sure of it, and working with the same guys, the same core guys, they got a lot of work to do, man. And it's a long off season, but it'll sneak up on you, and there's a lot that needs to be done. And I think acquiring another veteran presence is going to help that out. But I think the problem lies with lack of veteran players. I don't mind that Vlad is the leader, and there's the little jacket and all the camaraderie there. I think that's great, but I really think they are lacking that superstar veteran presence in the clubhouse.
And maybe it's something the Blue Jays address in this offseason here. I don't know. It's good that they have a good young core, but maybe some true impact playoff performers. We had George Springer. He's kind of really the only one who has really performed like that in the postseason. My lesson learned that I'm taking away from this season is that the playoffs are the only thing that's going to matter from here on out. The Blue Jays have their young core of players, and they need to run now. Vlad and Bo are starting to get expensive on contracts. Alek Manoah and Jordan Romano are only going to be so cheap for so long. And they're all free agents basically at the 2026 season. So the Blue Jays at most have 3 to 4 years with this current core to have sustained success. And all that's going to matter if the Blue Jays are going to win a World Series in that time, they need to start performing in the playoffs. And I think in order to do that, like the takeaway we can make it here is that you need to build your team, construct your team with things that are going to make your team good in the playoffs. Like get good bullpen options, get more hitters than you know how to shake a stick at, because you never know. There's going to be a guy slumping. And if a guy is slumping, I don't care how good he is, you can't have him in a short 3-game series where every pitch matters so much, because baseball is not like the NBA where the best team wins 80% of the time. I think the stat is, for that to happen in baseball, for the best team to win 80% of the time, you have to play a 55-game series, and that's never going to happen. So you got to do all the little things here, and that's kind of my main takeaway from looking at this season is just we got to build our teams for playoff success.
Couldn't agree more, Jesse. Couldn't agree more, man.
All right, Kyle, quickly before we move on to our next thing here, do you have another main takeaway you want to spit at us before we go on?
No, I wanted to touch on Riley's point.
Kyle, mute your mic for a second. Yeah, Kyle's going to try to fix his mic here, and we're going to go on. Riley, how about you? Give us something you've got here.
For just takeaways moving into next year, we can't be that bad. In the playoffs, again, it's inexcusable. We ran into Luis Castillo, who decided to be the best pitcher in all of baseball history for one night. And I think that really set us back. And I mean, the wheels falling off is an understatement. We had an absolute collapse in Game 2 at the Rogers Center. We all witnessed it in some way, shape, or form, Jesse. And I think if we play that series 100 times over, that doesn't happen. We drew the short straw in a huge pack of straws, essentially, and we really got screwed over, man. That's the way of baseball. That's literally how the ball bounces. There was some questionable strike calls, and that when it seemed to not go our way either way.
Yeah, that's just going to happen, though, right?
That's just going to happen, and I can't sit here and gripe about it too much because it happened. But we play that series 10 times, and I think we win 7, 8 times out of 10, man. There's no question. We got dealt a bad hand, and really things did not go our way in the series.
All right. Well, we got 3 more cracks at it. Well, the score's still in touch and hope it does. Kyle, you there? Do we got her?
Is it better now?
Good man. Out of B.
Okay.
You were underwater there for a little bit. We didn't want to.
Gone. I've spiked it.
Didn't want to.
Great. No headset. Through the computer. So
Perfect.
Yeah. No. I think a major takeaway is just be patient.
Right.
As Toronto sports fans, you get told that a lot. But I mean, like Riley said, these kids are young. Baseball's a tough sport. It's a grind over 162. But he's also right in the sense that we do need to add more veteran presence just for the maturity, I think, off the field. Like, I mean, I was all for, get ready for the movie.
Right.
But,
I think we all were.
but like, at the same time, like, these kids, you guys haven't done anything yet. You haven't done anything in your career yet. You can't be saying stuff like that and then go throw an egg. Because let's face it, game 1, no one looked ready for that series.
Right.
Including Manoah with his patented line that's pressure something that you put in tires. Well, I wish it was something you could fill the zone up with because he could. But it was just like stuff like that. I love it. I love the storylines. I love the confidence, but there needs to be some more veteran guys in the room, I think, just to kind of help ease them into how long and the ebbs and flows of that season. It's crazy.
It's all right, though. Manoah was not the only one making ridiculous, bold statements. Vladdy wasn't the only one. Jesse, is it time to look back in our rookie episodes on the show earlier this year and go, wow. I mean, next week or the next episode, I'm sure next week, we'll be giving out report cards to our wonderful Toronto Blue Jays. But someone should give us a report card on how our hot takes went, Jesse. I'm sure if you have comments, leave them, I'm sure, because even us, our great baseball minds sometimes have a little bit of lapses sometimes, and it'll show here coming right up.
So we do have our bold takes we're going to review, and we're going to get to that, Riley, in just 1 second, because before we do, I'm going to ask you guys 3 true or false questions. We can be really quick. You can even just say true or false and we can move on. But if we want to have a discussion, we can. But we're going to do that first, and then we're going to get into our bold takes. So you guys ready?
Deal.
Right.
All right. True or false? Alejandro Kirk just had his best year of his career.
True.
I want to take the under. I'll say false.
I think it might be true, to be honest. He had that hot streak for about 2.5 weeks and was just kind of meh for the rest. Could be the best, but honestly, I hope not. Next guy, Jordan Romano. True or false? Just had his best year of his career.
Easiest true, I'll answer. Easiest true, I'll answer.
Kyle?
I'm going to say true, but not because I think he can duplicate it to a degree. I don't think he's going to fall off the map, but I mean, those numbers are going to be tough, even if you're one of the best in the game. So,
and then my last one, true or false? Alek Manoah just had his best year of his career.
Totally false. His best years are coming up, man. Like Alek Manoah is going to, I think he's going to win at least one Cy Young before his career is done. And I think he's going to get a plethora of votes. It's way too early to talk about. I won't even say the place in New York City where good baseball players go. But as far as the probability
Stadium,
for that, oh, certainly not. I mean, the house that Babe built, it's a different ballpark anyways, so I don't care about this one. So this one I hope it gets no more history in it. But yeah, Alek Manoah certainly is going to be a force with us. I really want this guy to be a career Blue Jay guy. I mean, he could be. I mean, I hope he ranks right up there with the great Roy Halladay as far as Blue Jays pitching stats go. I mean, Manoah had a remarkable year. What else can you say, man?
Kyle, true or false? Manoah just had the best year of his career.
False, with the caveat that I don't think he's going to have a great year next year, but I think he figured it out. I think he's very young. It's going to be a little bit of a sophomore lull in his career next year, I think, just because of how much success he had. But I'm with Riley. I hope he's a Blue Jay for life, and he's got a lot of success come down the road. So.
I mean, I'm going to say false just because like we kind of need Alek Manoah to have years like this for this Blue Jays team to be dominant. But I agree, it's going to be very hard for him to repeat the year we just had. Just wanted to get those into you quickly. Now, Riley, we can get into our bold takes. And Kyle, you weren't here when we made our bold takes, so I don't know what your reaction to this is going to be. Maybe I can just spit out one of our takes. You can give maybe what you thought at the time. Remember, it's hard to flash your brain back into preseason mode. We were still all hot and horny. We thought we were going to get Jose Ramirez on this team. So, we were in a different mindset then than we were now.
Wouldn't it have been nice right now, a week ago?
Yeah, honestly, to be honest. So it's been a hell of a 2 weeks for Blue Jays fans, but let's get into them. And I think let's start with the first one that we kind of talked about all year that we thought was really going to happen. And that's that Matt Chapman was going to hit 43 home runs this year. So we know how the season played out. We know what happened to it here, Kyle. What are your thoughts on that bold take?
Well, 43 is a lot.
It is.
Originally, I thought you guys picked 48, which is laughable. 43 is more respectable. I think I would have hammered the under, but I wouldn't have been too opposed. He has it in him. But when he does decide to hit 40 home runs, he's going to be an MVP. It's when he decides to do that, or if he can, because he struggles at the plate his whole career. He's very
streaky. Yeah.
But 43 is a big number.
I might have had some strong influence towards the numbers on that one for sure. Of course, I don't need to tell you about how I feel about Matt Chapman. My favorite non-Canadian sports team being the Oakland Athletics. Get my favorite player. Yeah, Jesse, I was all hyped up, ready to go. Of course, I'm going to say, yeah, he's going to have the best career of his season. He's going to win a Gold Glove. He's going to win a Silver Slugger, and he's going to finish in the top 5 for MVP voting. Well, he didn't even win a Gold Glove this year, and I mean, the votes aren't in, but I can count on that he won't win a Gold Glove. He won't win nothing this year. It was a down year for Chapman. Can we say it's on his hip? His swing wasn't there. He strikes out an awful lot, man. It frustrates me to watch, but I mean, yeah, I think 43 he tops out at 43 home runs in whatever fairy tale year that might be. I thought that the fairy tale was going to be this year where everything goes right for us. Sadly, I was wrong. And yeah, I mean, I think as the thing was with this Blue Jays team, the power guys didn't actually hit a ton of home runs. So I guess I could have said the same thing about Vlad or Teo. I just chose Matt Chapman because he's my guy.
Absolutely. Of course, Matt Chapman ended the season with 27 home runs. Aaron Judge led Major League Baseball with 62. Matt Chapman 30th in all of baseball with his 27 home runs. Riley, this next one was a hot take that you gave out here, and you said, quote, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to win 100+ games. So we didn't. We ended with 93, so that's another X for us. But then, Riley, you did add, no matter what happens, we're winning at least 91. So you kind of gave yourself a hedge there. But yeah, no 100+ win season for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Wow, I gave us a lot of wiggle room there. I like that, though, because I probably said it and then said, Riley, we play the New York Yankees, and then went, oh, well, maybe we'll win 90. Well, 91 sounds better. So yeah, I backed myself on that. That's good though. That's smart betting right there. That's smart betting.
Kyle, what would you have taken? Over the under on the 100 coming into the year?
Honestly, coming in, I probably would have drank the Kool-Aid, man. I didn't think they'd be nearly as good as they were. Not because I didn't think they had the talent, just because it's tough to play in the Bronx. But you gave a nice one.
You win a lot of things
right. Don't
win
at least 50.
Yeah.
But no, I probably would have drank the Kool-Aid and went over too.
Yeah, good man. That's why we like having you here. You support our dumb decisions that we make on this show. Riley, we went from your guy that you were hyped to get on this team coming into the offseason to my guy that I was hyped to get onto this offseason. And my first hot take was Yusei Kikuchi will lead the Toronto Blue Jays in strikeouts this season. And our main points were, hey, his velocity looked good in spring. We talked about the pitch mix change. We were like, Yusei Kikuchi can strike guys out. Riley, you then threw here. He's like, you know what? Yusei Kikuchi is going to have an ERA of 3.5 or lower. And then to make things worse, Riley, I tripled down on this. And then I went in and added, you know what? Yusei Kikuchi is going to end the season as our number 2 pitcher in our rotation. So
in the bull, number 2 pitcher in the long relief slot, maybe
like number 2 lefty in the bullpen at that.
Wow.
For what it's worth, Yusei Kikuchi did finish the season with 124 strikeouts. Kevin Gausman led the team with 205. So I think I can put a big X on that one there.
Yeah, that's a big F on the guest there. It's hey. you know what? We're here to promote baseball. We're here to promote the Blue Jays. Certainly, we sign a guy like Yusei Kikuchi, and we weren't going to go, yeah, he's going to suck. Watch him go into the bullpen. He'll be in the bullpen by September. No, we're not about that, man. I think the fact that, one thing, we lost Hyun-Jin Ryu, so we were down a left-handed pitcher anyways. So Yusei Kikuchi had a chance to do some things, and he didn't. I don't think I need to tell you guys that he just didn't perform. And well, here we are afterwards, Jesse. Yeah, it's a bit of a lukewarm take now looking at it, but hey, you know what? Had some fun with it. Yeah, I got to make a bold claim about Chapman. You had one about Kikuchi. You know, there are guys. We had a little bit riding on them, and yeah, sometimes it don't work out though, Jesse.
Kyle, were you drinking the Kikuchi Kool-Aid? Sounds terrible as a drink, to be honest.
Maybe not to that degree, but just so you know, the D- grade that I gave was not for your take at all. It was for Kikuchi's performances. The writing was on the wall. You guys are right. The writing was on the wall. New pitching coach. He had a great season. You thought maybe, hey, he could figure something out and be that number 2 guy. So I'm with you. High velocity. I thought the strikeouts would be there as well. It was just an awful experiment. We can say that, because where do we go from here? Do we expect him to even bounce back?
Oh yes, 100%. I am buying back into Yusei Kikuchi this winter.
I'm not, but I respect your decision.
We're going to be drinking the Kool-Aid again come spring. He's going to come into spring training. He's going to strike out 2 of the first 3 guys he faces in spring, and we're going to be right back where we started, baby.
Wow, are we already getting into the hot takes, Jesse? I don't want to leave you on that island all by yourself,
not
man,
yet,
but
not yet.
Wait till the spring. Just give me about 2.5 months to think about what even Yusei Kikuchi is to this ball club, and then we'll go from there.
All right, we'll get on to that one. We got a lot more takes to get to. Riley, here's one. Here's another pitcher that struggled. Riley, you said Jose Barrios is the ace, and here's a quote that you said: "There is no other pitcher on this staff I want to have on the mound. Jose Barrios will be a 20-game winner in 2022." Yikes.
Yeah, that one, that did not age well. I would have to say that out of all the things we've said, I'll say all the things that I've said. The Chapman one sounds like $1 million idea compared to the Jose Barrios one. He got lit up. He gave up the most home runs in the American League. He had the worst DRA of his career. He still somehow ended up with a positive winning percentage. But come playoff time, he was nowhere near the mound, and rightfully so, Jesse. Jose Barrios did not have a good season. It started with the first batter he faced, and from there, things were just a downward spiral. Then that's all I'm going to say about Jose Barrios, and it's too bad because I really, really like the guy. Loved him when he was in the American League Central. Thought it was a really smart trade. And last year, not this year that just happened, but the year before, 2021, he seemed to be doing all right. I guess he doesn't like even numbered seasons. So maybe in 2023, he comes back and pitches a little bit better. Not even going to make a take, because that is a lot to come back from for Jose Barrios.
6 more years of this guy. Kyle, were you drinking the Jose Barrios Kool-Aid 20-game winner?
I was 100%. I was.
Yeah.
I'm a big,
my boy,
big Barrios guy. I mean, listening to how people talk to him, like other pros around the league, just his work ethic, everything is good. His issue is other pitchers like hide their pitch as well, or they come from the same slot. He doesn't really do that. So you see it out of the hand. So he relies a lot on his stuff, a lot of his spin rate, location. Both his spin rate and location was awful this year, and that's what happened. So I don't know how you fix that, or if you fix it quickly, but he better, because I'm a big Barrios fan, and I was with Riley. I was so on him. I was so pumped to have him as a J long term. And I was with him too. I was thinking game 1 wild card, like way back at the beginning of the season. I was like, if there's a 1 game where I need a pitcher on the mound, it might not be Manoah. It could be Barrios. And now
you would have gone with Gausman, Manoah, or Stripling ahead of Barrios, and it's too bad. Yeah, like he turned from what I thought was going to be our number 1 or 2 guy, depending on who you like. Yeah. He was our number 4 guy at the highest, and it is too bad. I know a lot of guys were up on him. You and I, obviously, Gouldy, were pretty big on him, and he didn't come through for us at all, man. It was just I bet you the season felt like 4 years for Jose Barrios. I mean, let's not bash him too much. I'm sure that was just awful for him. I really hope he has a good offseason and is able to recover from this.
Yeah, no one needs it more than he does here. We still got a lot of takes to get to, and we're running out of time here. So I'm going to go with my next one here. And I said a Toronto Blue Jay will go on a hit streak of 30-plus games this year. The longest in Blue Jays history was 28 by Sean Green in 1999. The longest in 2021 was Vladdy, who had a 14-game hit streak. And guys, if you remember, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. between July 22nd and August 13th this year did have a 22-game hit streak. He hit 359 in that time, good for a 182 WRC plus. And it was the fourth longest hit streak in all of baseball, but it wasn't quite 30. In fact, nobody in baseball did. Trey Turner had a hit streak of 26 games to lead all Major League Baseball. So we were close. We were on the right track, but it just didn't happen.
Jesse, that's a dub, brother. I don't care,
so?
man.
Yeah.
I'm caught for what we've said before. Jesse, you sound like you sound like a genius for saying that. I mean, that's still pretty good. I mean, 10 games is a great hitting streak. You know, that's pretty hard to do. So double that and add 2 games. I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially because, you know, guys don't have, there's Joe DiMaggio's 56 is never going to be broken. 22 hits, you know, consecutive, or, you know, 22 games consecutively with a hit. I think that's wonderful, man. I think it's a win. I'm going to chalk that up as a win, man. I know it's not 38 games. Seems like a lot. That's 2 4-game sets. But whatever. For what we're talking about, that's a dub, man.
Kyle, are you giving it to me?
I'm giving you the dub, Jesse.
Let's
I
go, baby.
I think 30 is a ridiculous number. The fact that we were even close is dumb. I think that.
Hell yeah, we'll take that. All right, one more, and then we're going to take a quick break here. Riley, this was one of your takes. You said Cavan Biggio is going to lead the American League in walks. Well, let me tell you, Aaron Judge led the American League with walks with 111. Matt Chapman led the Blue Jays with 68. And off your head, guys, can you tell me how many walks Cavan Biggio had this year?
20, 24, 25.
Kyle?
I'm more excited to see the over-under. Did Judge get more walks than Cavan got plate appearances?
I can look that up real quick.
It's got to be close.
I will. I can tell you, though, Cavan Biggio had 38 walks on the team this year. He was good for 6th on the team. And plate appearances for Biggio.
Oh, he must have more than 111. Yeah. If he had 110 plate appearances and 38 walks, man, his on-base percentage would be just wild.
God, 303. Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking there. That would be anywhere close.
I knew what I was saying. Well, you know what? Clearly, he didn't walk as much as he should have. Cavan Biggio is kind of we have a plethora of second basemen on this ball club, and I don't know if Cavan's going to be our guy. That's yet to be determined, but he's definitely not the Buffalo Bisons Cavan Biggio, where he can go up and, you know, basically micromanage the umpire into calling close pitches, because it's Cavan Biggio. The MLB umpires, I felt like, didn't give him that treatment, and rightfully so. I mean, he quit with this bat twitching crap. Get your hands in a better spot. Bat a little more like your dad, and swing the dang thing too once in a while.
But, Riley, I'm with you, but has it been not determined yet? I feel like there's no fit for him with us anymore. And I'm a big Biggio fan. I love him, but
that'll be one of the burning questions of the offseason is what do we do with our second base platoon? Because with Merrifield, Espinal, maybe we move Bo Bichette to second base, as we've talked about. Like, there's a lot going on there. And so, guys, we're going to take a quick break, guys. We will be right back on the podcast. It's going to sound like nothing because that's the magic of video editing, but we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back, and we've got another Cavan Biggio bold take here. This is one that I made here. I said this was right after Jose Ramirez just signed his extension in Cleveland. So we thought, you know what, screw it. We don't need Jose Ramirez. He's a bum. My hot take was the combination of Cavan Biggio and Santiago Espinal will have a higher OPS than Jose Ramirez this season. And now let me tell you, Jose Ramirez ended up with an OPS of 869. The combination of Espinal and Biggio was a measly 680. And Riley, when I made that take, you called me. He's like, Jesse, the only way that's going to happen is if Espinal comes out with like 18 home runs, Biggio hits 25 plus. And in fact, they combined for just 13. So not my best take there, but hey, turns out Jose Ramirez is really good, and he would have been great on our team.
See, when you were reading that back, Jesse, it almost said if you add their OPSs together, it will be more than Jose Ramirez, which, you know what, is the case, but it's still, you know, it's still whatever. I would rather take an elite one elite second baseman over having two guys splitting time, right? I think that's the deal. But if you're going to have a guy splitting time at any position, I think it's okay to have that happen at second base. You never want to have a lackluster center fielder, third baseman kind of first base thing. Like, I think if it's going to happen anywhere, second base is a safe spot for that to happen. But for the power numbers, 13 home runs, Jesse, that's between two guys. That's pretty low, man. That sounds like the tandem of catchers in like the 1940s right there, man. Over 100 and whatever many games. But hey, whatever, it is what it is. Not a great year for Cavan. Great start for Espinal.
Yeah, it was looking good early, but
it looked great. But it was fairly short-lived in this 2022 season for Espinal.
Kyle, tell us how dumb we are.
I wouldn't say dumb. I'd say we were a little hurt. We didn't get them.
Yes.
We wanted to make the best of a bad situation. And like you said, Espinal could have done it himself early on in the season. He was looking unbelievable.
That's all-star Santiago Espinal to you.
And then he kind of came back down to earth where he probably should be. Cavan continued to be mediocre. And it's just, that's what we got.
All right, we had another one here, and this was the take I proclaimed back in March that I was like, this is the one I want you guys to remember because this is going to happen, and I'm going to say that it happened here first. Now, it didn't happen, so we don't have to worry about that. But my hot take was that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will set the record for the hardest hit baseball in baseball this season. Now, it did happen in Major League Baseball, but it did not belong to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. In fact, it belonged to O'Neill Cruz, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who hit a baseball 122.4 miles per hour. Vladdy's career best was 118.9, and on this season, he didn't quite top it. It was 118.4. It was on a 90-mile-per-hour sinker against a Cubs reliever that he hit a hard line drive right smack up the middle. But I will say it was the fourth best in all of baseball this season, behind O'Neill Cruz, Giancarlo Stanton, and Shohei Ohtani. So didn't quite get there, but I really thought he would, but came close.
O'Neill is just French for left-handed, and Cruz is just Spanish for judge, because he's just a left-handed Aaron Judge, that O'Neill Cruz. He's a monster. I mean, of course he's going to hit a ball hard. If he didn't, and he also throws like, I don't know what the throw speed is, but I know he was absolutely hammering balls in the infield to the first baseman. Like the guy's an absolute monster. If Vladdy was 6'7", I mean, he'd be hitting 70 home runs, but he's not a freak of nature. He is still very much though a superhuman like guy, just didn't put up superhuman numbers.
Kyle, Vladdy's
Cruz is just, he's so fun to watch. O'Neill Cruz. He is something special. It's weird for the game to see that tall of a shortstop, and just it's wild to watch him hit baseballs in pro baseball. So I'm with you though. I thought Vlad could do it. His hard contact rate is through the roof. I was like, okay, I could see it. But O'Neill Cruz is just, I think he's going to hold on to that title every year.
God, I wish I could hit like O'Neill Cruz, to be honest, or even Vladdy, hell, or even like Cavan Biggio for that matter.
Yeah, I'd even like to hit like an American League relief pitcher, for God's sakes. That would be great.
Oh well, got to keep trying, I guess. My next take here was I thought the Blue Jays would throw a no-hitter this year. The Jays only have one in their franchise history, is by Dave Stieb, and like I can't believe there are some teams that have like 3 no-hitters in a season. I can't believe it's taken the Jays this long to get a no-hitter. It didn't happen this year. I think Ross Stripling came the closest. I think he had one into the 7th inning this year. Ultimately, it didn't happen, but I will double down on this going into next year. The Blue Jays have to have a pitcher throw a no-hitter sometime here soon.
Oh man, I feel like Jesse, that we are going to walk into 162 games. And do you remember that girl at the Jays game when we went in game 2 and she said the forbidden word? And you look back, she said the forbidden word, and I don't even want to say it because you just said it. We might be screwed. Jays fans, you know who to blame? If Alek Manoah doesn't throw a 9-inning no-no, maybe even a perfecto, you can go and go to Bud's Jays and at Jesse Burrow, because he might have just threw us way under the bus. Hey man, it's bound to happen though. But with our luck, I feel like there's an incredible amount of luck that goes into no hitters. There's no question about it. So, and always one defensive gem. You got obviously, a famous Mark Burley, Jays legend, but pitching for the White Sox. Dwayne Wise, former Blue Jay too. They see how that works there. That's hilarious. Goes up the wall, makes a great, almost boggles the ball or does boggle the ball, still comes up with the catch. Like there's always a fantastic play. Everything's got to go almost perfect, even for a no-hitter. So if we get one, Jesse, I'll be absolutely astounded, and I sure as heck hope I'm at the ballpark for that, because the city of Toronto is getting torn up after that. But if anyone's going to do it, I'm still riding with it's going to be Alek Manoah, and it's going to be a game of that we're sweating right through our shorts, man. I mean, it has to be, right?
Yep. Kyle, are you going to throw a no-hitter or what? You going to pitch on this team and make it happen?
I might have. Actually, you know what? No, I'm actually with you, Jesse.
Yeah,
I think
let's go.
This year. I changed up takes halfway through because Riley persuaded me a little bit. He just got me all fired up, thinking
He does that.
Into that. And no, I mean, you were right though. Like with the pitching staff that we thought we were getting, it was a pretty safe bet.
The problem is pitchers aren't going deep into games anymore, and that might be the one thing. They're hard capped at the pitch count, so it's going to have to be something very special for the Blue Jays to get a no-hitter. And I'm not counting this team no-hitter bullshit. It's one guy going out there doing the thing.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing in baseball right now. Combined no-hitter, it's like,
yeah, it's not even a thing. I like get those notifications off my phone.
At most.
Like, sure, it's cool, but I bet some of those relievers don't even know they're in a combined no-hitter,
No.
Story for another day.
7 innings playing Nintendo DS and the bullpen.
Right. All right. So we have a few more to go here. Let's get to them. Let's try to pick up with some pace here. Riley, this one was looking real good for a large part of the season. This is one you said the Blue Jays catchers as a tandem are going to hit the most combined home runs. And Riley, this was true for the first half of the season, and it kind of tailed off as Alejandro Kirk tailed off a little bit. The combination of Danny Jansen, Alejandro Kirk, Gabriel Moreno, Zach Collins, and Taylor Heineman hit 34 home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays. The leaders were once again Kansas City with 41, but they have MJ Melendez scheduled as a catcher, so I think that's kind of sketchy, but didn't happen. Jays were third in the American League for home runs by catchers, but hey, the president is true.
Yeah, well, if Jansen's healthy, it's way more achievable. And if Kirk decides that like we're not just gonna play slap ball and we're actually gonna go yard for a change, yeah, it was cool. Like I don't know, Heineman maybe contributed to 1 home run at the very
Zach
most.
Collins had 4.
Hey, you know what? Good for him. Gabby Moreno contributed with 1. It's all important stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the big thing, you look at Jansen and Kirk and Danny Jansen, and I part of the reason was I preached this a lot. That Danny Jansen has unbelievable power. He is almost an elite power hitter among catchers. And I feel like if he's healthy now, I don't know what our catcher situation is going to be, but we replay this exact year, but we play with a healthy Danny Jansen, and Kirk is first half Alejandro Kirk, then we easily hit 45 home runs, Jesse.
Yep.
I am a firm believer in that, and then I look like a genius. I feel like I still made a pretty safe bet on it. It sucks that Jano got hurt, and it sucks that Kirk forgot how to hit for power for a bit. I do appreciate the contributions from guys like Zach Collins and Heineman, and of course Gabby Moreno, who is also, his fate is also yet to be determined. We have one of the best problems to have, which is an abundance of really good catchers and really young catchers too. So we'll see what happens, man. As far as the hot take go, I still feel like I get a half point on this one.
Sure, we'll give it to you.
Because Danny Jansen, just for the reason that Danny Jansen, and I know it caught a lot of people caught a lot of people off guard. I certainly wasn't caught off guard because I know what the guy's got. I know what he's capable of, man. Danny Jansen is a great power hitter. Kyle, I know you agree with me, man. I know the take seemed a little weird at first, but watching Danny Jansen hit, man, like what a guy, man. What an absolute monster behind the plate for us when he was healthy this year.
Hey, absolutely was. I want to just get through the next ones here really quick. Kyle, how many All-Stars did you think the Blue Jays would have coming into this season?
I thought we'd get 1, 2, 3. Thought we were going to have 5.
Riley, how much did you think we were going to have coming into the season?
Probably. I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say 5, maybe 6.
All right. Well, my hot take was that the Blue Jays would send 8, and they didn't. They had 4 in 2021, and we were expecting bigger things. The Blue Jays ended up sending 6 in 2022 with Alek Manoah, Alejandro Kirk, Vlad, George Springer, Jordan Romano, and Santiago Espinal. Kevin Gausman was a snub, 100% should have been an all-star. And we were just missing good first halves from Bo Bichette, from Jose Barrios, and Matt Chapman didn't hit 43 home runs. So we just kind of missed one there. So I don't think that was too bad of a hot take, but definitely an L.
Yeah, well, all-stars come and go, man. At the end of the day, it's a team sport. Individual accolades are sick. Kyle, we were both swagger guys back in the day. Like we love our our personal stats, but at the end of the day, man, it don't mean nothing unless the team's winning. And that's the big takeaway from this is all-star games are cool, but winning playoff games is a lot cooler.
I couldn't agree with that more. Just I lost in the playoffs last week and it still hurts.
So yeah, we're all in mourning over here. I'm going to go through these next 3 really quick here. One, we said the Blue Jays would have the fewest strikeouts in the American League. They were close. They were top 5. But finished 3rd. Houston and Cleveland both struck out less than the Blue Jays. We also said that Riley, you said that the Blue Jays are going to have 3 players hit 40 bombs, Matt Chapman, Vlad, and Teo. No, that didn't happen either. They hit exactly 200 on the season between them, which was 7th best in all of baseball. And we also said, Riley, that the Jays are going to turn 2 triple plays this year. Not only did they not do that, the Blue Jays actually hit into a triple play instead. So I feel like that means we were wrong by 3. But yeah, any thoughts on those 3 takeaways there? Nothing too crazy.
That's a negative point there. Like we're gonna get a triple play now, man, but we hit into one, which is terrible. Yeah, just honestly, Jesse, we look back at these hot takes, and there was a lot to look forward to. I mean, obviously, we weren't going to be 100% right, but the fact is, like, we should have been right on almost 1 or 2 of these things, and that's kind of disappointing. Like, I feel like we should have had at least one guy hit 40 home runs. A no-hitter would have been awesome. Like, what if Cavan did have the most walks in the American League? Like, there's just a lot of what ifs, man. If one of those things could have been, like, how would it have affected the season? But Jesse, it is what it is. And we're here. There's other teams playing baseball tonight that aren't the Toronto Blue Jays. And we're sitting here talking about a team that has been out of the postseason for the better part of a week.
God, that sucks, eh? I hate that.
It does.
Oh, well. We did get one right, though, guys, and this is it. I'm going to toot my own horn for this. We are not getting shut out on the podcast today. Now, my bold take was the Blue Jays are going to make an impact trade deadline acquisition, which you could classify that's not bold, Jesse. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be buyers. Of course they are. But then I listed some names at you, and the first name I listed was Chris Sale. Well, we can ignore that one because that never happened. Red Sox are never going to trade him in the division anyway. But then I mentioned Whit Merrifield, and I thought Kansas City would be going down this little tank job, and the Blue Jays like the left-handed bat-on-ball contact guy, so I thought there would be an opportunity, and sure enough, it happened, guys. So we are not shut out. Whit Merrifield is a Toronto Blue Jay, and our bold prediction segment was now a success.
Happy 2022. Like I always say, man, if this was 2018, this would be amazing. But it's a Whit Merrifield, and you know what? His power absolutely sucked for us. But I felt like at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad acquisition to go after. And yeah, I still hope that he's okay. He got hit in the head pretty hard in that last playoff game he was in. I know that we won't get a lot of injury reports since the Jays have been, out of baseball, but still that looked pretty tough. But I was glad to have Whit Merrifield. I was not a big fan at first. He kind of grew on me quickly in a short period of time. And he's a guy who's still, he's a veteran guy. He came into the league at a later age, obviously after the really good Casey Royals left town, and he kind of was there with a rad tad group of guys in the AL Central, and now he's in Toronto, man. Let's see what his career is going to come out after this. I think his best days are totally behind him, but he could possibly be a really good piece for us.
Kyle, I just want you to toot my own horn for me and tell me how smart I am. Can you go ahead and do that?
You're the smartest person in baseball.
Thank you.
I couldn't have told you this more. Like, I think you are just the Einstein of baseball, and this was a total win.
right, guys, we're 1 for 15 on our bold predictions. Obviously, we made a prediction too that the Blue Jays were going to win the World Series, but I don't even want to count that one. So 1 for 15. What are we? The Blue Jays hitting and running runners in scoring position at the plate? No, that's what it seems like, but we'll take that. So guys, that was our bold prediction. We're going to have more come March. It's always fun to look back on these and to see how we do. And we have a good laugh, and I hope you guys at home had a good laugh here too. Make sure you leave a comment down below on what your favorite bold prediction was, or just how in the world could you guys think this stuff is really dumb. But that is going to do it for our episode here today. So please make sure you, like I said, leave a note in those comments. Make sure you check out our friends over at Leafs and Lads. They're doing a whole bunch of stuff. The NHL season is underway. The Leafs are off to a 2-1 start, and they're playing Arizona today. So I'm going to go ahead and say 3-1, and sorry if they lose. That is my fault. I will take the blame for that. And Kyle, thanks for joining us on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
No, honestly, thank you. The pleasure again is all mine. This is such a good opportunity for you guys, and like honestly, being diehard fans, it's awesome. You guys have an outlet to kind of talk about it. Gives you a better understanding and experience just throughout the season. So keep it up. It's honestly awesome.
The fact that people even listen to us, I find is amazing, because we're just rambling on about baseball stuff, but hey, it works. Anything else to add, Riley, before we get out of here?
Yeah, at the end of the day, Kyle, we're just here airing our grievances now. When there's good things to talk about, we'll go right into them. If there's bad things to talk about, we'll address them, man. We'll take the ups and downs are just part of baseball, and clearly we're in off-season mode right now. Mm-hmm. And as far as the bold takes go, 1 for 15, that's kind of like my grade 12 year against left-handed pitching. I don't know what that would put me in average-wise, but it wasn't too pretty. But hey, you know what? It was a good one. That was a solo homer that you took in that at-bat, Jesse, with the Whit Merrifield call. I love it. And let's not forget that I called Chapman and you called Kikuchi. And at the end of the day, to me, we started our show like that, and that's at the end of the day, that's one of the only things that matter to me as far as the pod goes and the facts we get right. I don't care that I said Chapman's going to hit 43, because you know what? He has it in him. Whether that happens or not, I know what potentially holds. It's not like we're getting Philadelphia Phillies fans being like, or whoever. Right. Insert fan base here, man. I know what he can do. Jesse knows what he could do. Same thing goes for a lot of these guys. So you know what? It's a fun episode to do. Couldn't have done it with two better guys who know the game of baseball, guys who've been around. So when we make these bold takes, yeah, we're being high on the Blue Jays, but we know what these players are capable of, man. And let's hope when we go into the spring, Jesse, you and I, we'll be a little more cautious this time of what we say in our. No, you're probably right, but I'm gonna make a hot take right now that my hot takes are just cooled down just a touch, maybe,
That's no fun. Come on.
Well, we'll see. Got a long way. It's gonna be a long winter, Jesse. It's gonna be a long winter. We'll see what happens.
There is. All right, guys, this was fun. We'll be back next week to get our report cards out and talk about the Blue Jays season that was.
Thanks, guys.